Good evening and welcome to this episode of Hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel presented by thejeopardyfan.com. Once again, and as always, I am Andy Saunders and I will be moderating this discussion. I've got a couple of contestants from last week's games, I should say. We'll get right into the introductions in just a second. You see one of them on your screen right now, so I'll get right into the introduction right now. Welcome to Hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel, Arielle Lipshaw.
Hello.
And also our second panelist this evening, Emily Milan. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on your victories.
Thank you so much. It was really fun.
Okay, so if you have questions for any of our panelists, we've got the hashtag on Twitter, as always, Hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel. There's also a YouTube live chat, so either the live chat or the hashtag, I keep an eye on both during the episode. So if you have any questions, let me know and I will ask them. But my standing first question, as it were, on Hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel these days: most Jeopardy contestants start out as Jeopardy fans, and most Jeopardy fans have an origin story, as it were, as to how they became Jeopardy fans in the first place. So, Emily and Arielle, how did you both become Jeopardy fans?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. So I grew up in a trivia family. Like some families are sports families, but my family is a trivia family. So I didn't realize that for most people, Trivial Pursuit isn't like a blood sport until I was in college. But yeah, we always watched Jeopardy. I always watched it. I can't remember a time that I didn't watch it. I was actually thinking today, the modern Jeopardy and I are exactly the same age because it started in 1984 with Alex Trebek, which was the year I was born. And I remember, this was one of my fun facts, but I believe when I was 6 years old, the swim team I was on the swim team and we did those paper plate awards, and I got most likely to appear on Jeopardy. So I feel like this has been in the works for a long time.
No kidding. Yeah, so for me, I was always like a game show junkie, even when I was a kid. I remember when we got Game Show Network, I would put tapes in the VCR overnight and record Match Game and What's My Line and stuff, because I don't know. I just loved it, and Jeopardy was one of the main ones. Jeopardy has always been on at the same time in Detroit, my entire life. I used to watch it with my grandpa when he'd come over after school, because my mom worked in the evenings. I remember him being really into Ken Jennings' run when I was in high school, and that was I think his run ended my senior year of high school, and so I just have a lot of memories of watching that with my grandpa. And then when I was in college, I just started watching it pretty much exclusively, wasn't watching Price is Right and stuff anymore. And that was about the time they started doing the online test. So I've been taking it since I was in college, about 8-9 years. Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Now, how many times did you each audition for the program?
I only auditioned one time. It was the first time. I auditioned for the college tournament when I was in college and didn't make it very far. But I had never been to an in-person audition before this time.
This last in-person audition was my second, and that was when I got the call. So
okay. So once you each got the call, how did you prepare for your appearance on the show?
What I did was, I watch the show every day anyway, but what we started doing is we DVR it, and so we would wait until we had a whole week's worth, and I would watch 5 in a row at a time. I would stand up and I would yell the answers and click a pen, and I didn't really study anything specific besides things that come up that I'm kind of bad at, like operas, the Bible, cabinet members. Those are my weak spots. But I mostly studied betting, especially in Final Jeopardy, because I wasn't comfortable with that at all. And I'm really glad that I did. So.
Yeah, pretty similar actually. I would just look up old shows on YouTube, and then we have an Apple TV, so I would just use the remote as the clicker, like to pause it and say the answer. Also pretty similar. I studied a little geography. I'm really weak in, so I got like an app for my phone that I was like drilling myself on, like just capitals of countries. But I didn't study anything specific. I figured like there was no point studying sports because anybody that knew sports would just know it, and I wouldn't know it. The likelihood of it being something I had studied would be very low. But I also practiced betting. So because that, again, I feel like we're going to have the same answers for some things. I wasn't super confident in my ability to do the math at the, like, in the moment. So what I would do is, any episode that I was watching, when it would get to Final Jeopardy, I would pause it. I would write down the scores of all three contestants, and then I would work out like what I would bet if I were in any of their positions. As it happened, the position that I actually found myself in was not something I practiced for. But I did practice that quite a bit. Just literally just trying to, just making sure I knew how to do the math.
Yeah, me too. Like I would write it down, everything. Same. Like, yeah, it was so helpful because that was the most stressful part on the tape day for me, when they hand you that scrap paper and you're like, oh, okay, let me just remember how to do math now. Like,
and I do want to say that, you know, if you're preparing for the show, one of the best ways to prepare for betting is basically to work out everyone's bets, all three of them, when you're sitting there, because it really is the best way to prepare for all kinds of betting scenarios from all different positions, because you really never know what position you're going to find yourself in on the day. Now, how obviously in your first game, Emily, how much was your strategy affected by Dimitri's reaction, as it were, to musical theater, and possibly also Joey?
Oh, they both had an audible reaction to that category. And I had a positive reaction to it even before I knew that they weren't happy about it, because I love musical theater. It made me laugh, Joey, last week, because he was like, no one wants to see musical theater. And I was like, I did.
It's my top 5. Like,
I was so happy about it. So yeah, I was surprised that Joey bet 0, but I had a good feeling that they were both going to underbet just because they both were so upset about the category. And it worked out well for me.
I mean, as it turns out, Robert basically, I think, you know, I guess gritted his teeth, as it were, and decided he needed to at least bet his, you know, the smaller, or at least, you know, something that isn't 0.
Yeah. That question was actually kind of funny because I don't really know. Like, I guess I would have figured out from context because I do know the movie The Bodyguard, but it just so happened that The Bodyguard show was touring in Detroit like the week before we came out for our taping, and the commercial would show during Jeopardy like every single day. So to me, that was like such an easy answer.
Whereas I think most of the viewers figured it out from the film angle to it.
Yes. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't seen those commercials like 100 times the week before.
But so I feel as though I can't remember if I saw it on Reddit or on Twitter, but somebody had mentioned that you had some delays getting out to the studio before your first taping.
Oh, I sure did. That's funny. I wonder who mentioned that. Yeah, I was supposed to get into LA on Monday night at like 7 p.m. and we got in at 2 a.m. like Tuesday morning. And I got like 2.5 hours of sleep, and then I went straight to the taping. So it was like people kept saying I looked bored and stuff, especially in like Thursday and Friday's episodes. I was a zombie. Like I don't know how I did half of that, like, to be honest.
So obviously you were much more refreshed for the Tuesday episode, or for the Monday episode when you came back, I guess, on the Thursday.
Exactly. I actually had a lot of fun in that episode because I was rested and relaxed and feeling much better.
We've got a question that just came in on the hashtag from another one of last week's contestants, Jack Dickey.
Ah.
So, hi, Jack. Has Emily seen The Fugitive?
I have not seen The Fugitive, but I did know the answer to that question because I am a Harrison Ford fan. So
He's on a campaign, I think, to prove that nobody knows what The Fugitive is, which
I
is
was
not
super
not
surprised.
correct.
I thought for sure. I was like, Jack has this. Because we left right before your episode. We left, before lunch, so I didn't get to see what happened. I really thought Jack was gonna have that in the bag. So
Um, for the record, I said Mission Impossible on that clue,
okay.
but what can you do? Um, let's see. I think now is probably a good time to bring this one up, especially because I have some more information. But how about Reese Witherspoon?
How about Reese Witherspoon? That was amazing. While I was like, by the time I finished the category, I was like, I feel like this is gonna be good. Like, I feel like this is gonna be something that people like when this episode comes out, and it was. And I just keep saying, like, I'm glad that no one remembers that I lost the episode because all they keep talking about is with Reese Witherspoon. So, it's really fun. I like just about died when she shouted me out on her Instagram story. I have it saved to my phone. It's like the best thing I've ever seen. So,
Um, the Alex Trebek actually did an interview today, or at least I saw it today on I'm not sure if it was Entertainment Tonight or Entertainment Tonight Canada, but there was an interview regarding his the NAB Hall of Fame induction, and he mentioned that Reese Witherspoon was actually considering going on Celebrity Jeopardy as a result of what happened. So
I really hope she does. That would be so fun, and it would just like make my life, to be honest.
mm-hmm. Matt Carberry has also brought up that it might have also been on last week's live panel that the delays were mentioned as well. But I do if they
Oh,
if they
yes,
were,
maybe.
it's quite possible. Um, in any case, it's funny how much I forget, especially when I've been on the road for 6 days since that last taped. Um, I think you guys could both get to answer my next question. Obviously, Emily, you in the previous week, Arielle, because you got to play on Thursday, you both got lunch on Sonny's Dime at the commissary. So, what did you both have for lunch?
I knew you were going to ask this, and I was trying to remember, and I don't remember. It was all such a blur. I think I had some kind of a sandwich and like some salad. I remember thinking I don't have anything heavy because I don't want to have like blood sugar issues during the game, and I don't have anything carbonated because I don't want to burp in Alex Trebek's face. So I remember getting this like bottle of iced tea that I kept carrying around and losing. But that's my strongest memory of not wanting to get like a Diet Coke or something because I didn't want to have any carbonation.
Um, yeah, I think I got a turkey sandwich. I didn't really eat it at all because I was really shocked at the end of my first episode. I didn't process that I'd won until probably about halfway through lunch. So the turkey sandwich had a lot of mayonnaise on it, and I don't think I ate a lot of it.
So, in last week's games, which of the contestants were, the most terrifying to you, as it were, in rehearsal?
That's a good question.
I mean, Jack and Kristen were both terrifying. Like they were both just really fast on the buzzer, and as luck would have it, I was in the game with both of them.
Yeah, Jack was really good. Because we left before your episode, I I remember saying, I feel like Jack could like go for a few episodes because he just seemed like he was really strong. Gosh, I can't really remember what I was thinking during rehearsal. Jen, who I played against on Thursday, I remember thinking that she and I seemed to know a lot of the same things. So I was a bit nervous to go up against her. Like I went for that baseball category right away, and then she zoomed in on it, and I was like, oh no. So.
I was actually disappointed that because so many people jump all over Jeopardy contestants when they go, do poorly on the sports categories. Mm-hmm. And that went 5 for 5, and nobody really blinked an eye at it. And I was disappointed
2 women,
by
right?
that. Yeah.
I thought that was great. But no, I agree. No one cared.
My next question, did either of you have any watch parties for your episodes?
There were watch parties that I didn't go to because I was asked by a couple of different groups of people, can we throw a watch party? And I said, sure, but I'm not coming because I'm terrified of seeing myself on TV. So there was a big watch party at my work, I think with a couple dozen people. And there was a watch party at one of my friends' houses that I didn't go to. But we just went next door and watched it with our neighbors and their baby, which was nice.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, I had a watch party. We invited a lot of people to the bar where we normally play trivia. They have a room that they can close off, and I think maybe like 40 people came. I don't know. I was really stressed out beforehand because again, I also was nervous to watch myself on TV, and I don't really like parties where I'm the reason for the party. So it was weird, but super, super nice and fun in the end. So.
Well, that's good. Do either of you recall there being any strange or weird stoppages of play while you were in the studio?
No.
I don't think there were any during any of my episodes. I remember the first, which I think Tristan talked about last week, the first episode, the Monday episode that Tristan was in. They stopped, I'm pretty sure, for the Spirit Dancer or Spirit Quest answer. That was a long stoppage, but that's the only one I really remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember any. I saw some comment in one of the message boards that someone said one of the clues seemed weird, and they thought maybe it had been like put in like afterwards, but I was the one that answered that question and it wasn't. So I don't remember anything like that.
Okay. With regards to your interviews with Alex, did he go off script at all, or did he stick to kind of the circled anecdote that he's been given?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, he went with the anecdote that he was given, but then he asked me a follow-up question, which I was not expecting. Which luckily I had something that I could say, and I saw a couple people on Twitter were excited about the Octavia Butler shout out. So that I was glad that I had that kind of in my back pocket because I was not expecting that follow-up.
That's right. He asked you the book. You were like, you answered that so fast. I was like, I wonder if she knew he was going to ask that.
No, I don't remember there being a pause, but my husband told me that there was a couple of seconds that I thought about it, that they edited it out and made it seem like I was really quick and smart, which I'm fine with.
Let's see. For mine, the first day, they definitely were like, he's going to ask you about your cat, and he did, which is fine because I love talking about my cat. And what did I talk about the second day? Oh, yeah, no, every time pretty much it was the thing that I thought he was going to ask me about, except the last day, the fact that I collect like elephant jewelry was like the one that Karina had kind of thrown out and said, you need to bring me 3 more because we don't have any good stories for you. But I think because he knew that elephant category was coming up in Double Jeopardy, he went out of his way to ask me about the elephant thing because he really enjoyed how much I went to that cat category the first day. So.
Okay. Were there any categories that you had wished you'd been able to play in your own game but didn't?
Yes. I don't remember whose game it was, but someone had a Shakespeare category, and I was super mad because there were a couple that nobody answered.
Trying to think. I liked Ashley's Canadian celebrities category from the Tuesday episode. Because I knew all those too, but she ran that, so that's great for her.
I will say though, on that topic, I was sitting next to Michael Boss, the physicist, in the audience when they had the physics category, and that I think the last three nobody got, and he was about to die. Like I could see his brain coming out of his ears. He was really like not mad, but he was really unhappy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So how different is it watching Jeopardy now compared to watching Jeopardy before you were a contestant, before you taped? How is your watching experience different?
I guess just in general, I'm more aware that all the contestants are trying really hard. Like I used to get really frustrated when no one would buzz in for something that I thought was easy, but there were a few that no one buzzed in for when I was playing. That watching it, I was like, why didn't I know that? Like, why didn't I say that? It's just in the moment. You don't. It's happening so fast. So
yeah, so, kind of similar. Like I'm one to kind of shout at the TV when no one's buzzing in, but it's true. Like you get and this was something I didn't anticipate until it was happening, which is you get really conservative, especially in Double Jeopardy, especially when you're behind in Double Jeopardy, which going like, I want to be in Final Jeopardy. I don't want to be negative. I'm not going to buzz in and guess. I'm not going to buzz in unless I know for sure. And unfortunately, like in my case, there wasn't a lot that I knew for sure. There was stuff that I could have guessed on if I had, gotten a daily double or something like I had to. But there was definitely stuff that I was just like, I don't want to buzz in. I don't want to lose money. And I didn't think about feeling that conservative about fake money until it was actually happening.
Interesting. That's not something that I've heard a lot of people say here on panel for sure. What was your respective favorite parts of the experience of being on the show?
I would say just in general how nice everyone was, like other contestants as well as the people that work on the show. Like I just came away thinking everyone was awesome and a great person and wanted me to do well and have fun, and it wasn't like negative or stressful at all, which it really could have been. So
yeah, I mean, similar. And also like just the moment of like when we walked all as a group onto the set the first time for the first rehearsal, and Emily was in that group, but she'd already done it, of course. But like I just remember turning to a couple of different people. I think Kristen was standing next to me and just going, "Oh my God, like we're standing on the set of Jeopardy," and everyone I think was having a similar experience. But yeah, like every single person who works for the show did not have one negative interaction with anyone. Everyone was so, like, from the audition forward, just everyone was so sweet and so supportive and so helpful, and like just like they don't have to be like they don't have to be.
exactly.
Jeopardy will exist if they have people that are jerks, but none of them are. They're all super nice.
And like basing this on nothing, I feel like there are probably a lot of shows where it is like that. Like not everyone's so nice and kind and just helpful.
Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, what was the least favorite part of the experience for you?
Losing.
It's fair. It's fair.
No, even that was fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I had a really good time like all the way through. So
Yeah, it was super fun, and I was happy. Like I didn't want to be in the first show of the day because I wanted to have lunch. And I got to stay till after lunch, so I got like to have a whole day of it. Like the people that were in that first episode just kind of went home. Like their Jeopardy experience was like an hour, and I got to have the whole day, which was super fun.
Nice, nice. Was there a single clue that you were most proud of being able to give the correct response to?
the one that made me laugh the most was when I said Bone Thugs and Harmony. That was fun.
Um, I was really happy that I knew Final Jeopardy. Like that was very important to me going in. That was like one of my goals to know the answer to Final Jeopardy. So that was great. And because that was something I knew. Like that was not something I had to reach for.
Okay. So, is there anything that you thought I'd bring up tonight but didn't, or any questions for each other or myself?
Um, I thought you might ask about like social media, like people's like what the conversation looked like,
Okay.
on Twitter and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, in that case, how did you find the respective conversations about your episodes on social media?
I didn't look far. I did not go on Twitter because I have learned mostly from this show that you shouldn't. I went on Reddit and I made it clear that I was there so that everyone said nice things about me. Um, but no, I didn't see anything negative really anywhere. It was mostly really nice. Like I said, some people said I look bored, which that's just my face. So
Um, yeah, I also did the same thing. I went on Reddit, but I was like, this is me, so please be please be kind. No, I guess I had been prepped that people would make just being like a woman on Jeopardy, like that people would make weird comments about your appearance. And I got a couple weird comments, but mostly super supportive. Like it was actually kind of nice because there were a lot of people on Jeopardy going, "Oh, Arielle's cute. She's adorable," and I was like, "This is great. This is great. This is fine."
agree. Katie, who played on Tuesday of my first week, she messaged me the morning of the that my episode's gonna be on, and she's like, "Hey, just so you know, you're gonna get a bunch of weirdos requesting you on Facebook. Just like be prepared for that." And I really appreciated that. The Women of Jeopardy, like the Facebook group, it's so nice. I love it so much. So
Yeah, I did get the request for the nude swimsuit calendar.
I didn't get that one.
But I will say, my podcast got a big bump in subscribers, which is super awesome. So that was something we were hoping for, but weren't like expecting or depending on, and that was awesome.
In case, what sort of ring like what sort of a bump? Like double or triple or
It's hard. So I track stats weekly. But it'll be interesting to see at the end of this week what it looks like. But as of like Thursday night, we were already at like at least double what any week up to that point had been, and that still with like 3 days left in the week. So that was pretty impressive. So I hope those people stick around and it's a permanent bump.
well, I hope so for for your sake as well.
Yeah.
Feel free if you'd like to plug the podcast again by all means.
Yeah, it's called Adapt or Perish, and you can find us on iTunes or wherever you get podcasts.
Awesome. So, any other questions at this point?
Hmm, I don't think I have any.
Okay. So, for the for the to the both of you, thank you so much for joining me on hashtag Jeopardy live panel this week.
Thank you. This is great.
So fun.
Okay, so I'll be back next Monday night at 9:15 p.m. Eastern. The college tournament is on now, but I will wait until the tournament concludes before I get them on. So next Monday night, I have a bunch of Chicago area people lined up, and because Chicago is a big market for Jeopardy and Jeopardy contestants, so I've got a bunch of Chicago area players for an all Chicago hashtag Jeopardy live panel next Monday night at 9:15 p.m. Eastern. So for Arielle, for Emily, thank you so much for joining us on the hashtag Jeopardy live panel this evening. Thank you so much, and have a great night.